welcome to 3ETV. My name is Margaret Sass.
And I'm Chuck Callahan.
We are introducing Tyler and Beth, and we want to discuss the project that you're working on right now. But before you do, can you share a little bit about what you do at Purdue or what you are studying, something like that?
Well, I'm a mass communication student studying media production, so I'm taking a lot of hands-on courses, making videos, learning media theory, that kind of stuff. I'm also doing a film minor.
And what year are you?
This is my final year, hopefully.
Oh, hopefully. What about you, Beth?
I'm a junior in mass comm also, or mass communication. And I'm minoring in French entrepreneurship, but mostly my focus is on broadcasting and documentary production, things like that.
Oh, okay, that explains your project a little bit. So on to your project. Can you share a little information about it? And it's called Adams Mill Project, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good.
So what we're doing, we're in a class of 8 students. There's 8 of us?
There's 8 of us.
And we get together twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we kind of talk about different aspects of documentary production, everything from pre-production into actually going out and filming it and editing it, and then the post-production, selling it, and all of that. So we've been covering budgets and all that fun stuff. But what we're doing as a class is making a documentary about Adams Mill. You want to talk a little bit about the mill itself?
Well, Adams Mill, it's close to Rossville, Indiana, and basically it was this big mill that all the surrounding counties went to get milling done back in the day, and then it got shut down because some federal regulations. And then this guy, whose name I'm blanking on, but he came to Indiana to help his sick mother. He found the mill and he thought, this is really nice. And so he got funding to buy it. He's working on restoring it. He has tours going out of it, and he's just trying to prop this up as this big historical landmark.
So how did you decide on particularly this project instead of other ones?
We didn't really decide. Our professor who's doing the class, I don't know how he just knows about all of these kind of things. And so when we came into the class the first day, he was like, okay, we're doing a documentary on Adams Mill. And so we've been going out there. This Saturday will be our second filming day.
Wow. And how long will you be filming for? How many Saturdays?
2 after this Saturday, so a total of 4 days.
Very cool.
Well, talk a little bit about how this project relates to what you're learning in class, because obviously you're out in the field at Adams Mill. Try to tie those two together. How does that really play out for you in your learning process?
I mean, we're getting hands-on experience for every step of making a documentary. I mean, we're getting walked through how to set up funding, how to get people to help you fund projects like this, which, since this is a historical thing, you can probably pull in some money from someone just who likes history. But then we've got to go through planning what we need to shoot. We go out and shoot it. We've got to develop the entire script. Then we need to figure out how it needs to be edited, how we should package it, how it needs to be sold. So it's really breaking down the entire process so that eventually we'll be able to do it ourselves for our own projects.
Wow, that's really exciting, I would think, to learn something all that in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a job skill.
Yes.
So when you graduate, you can actually say, hey, this is what I produced, and kind of use it as an e-portfolio item.
Definitely.
That's very cool. So in this process, what is so far is your favorite part of it? I know you're not done, but so far to this point, you've obviously been doing a lot, right? So what would you consider your favorite portion right now?
I like actually getting out there and doing it, and the process of thinking through what we need to shoot and having access to all the resources, having an entire team working on this project, which isn't something that you get a lot of opportunities to do unless you're part of a big organization or you just know a lot of people who have a shared interest. But this way you get the actual experience of working with a team working on a single project.
What about you, Beth?
It's definitely the team thing that he said. I think that's probably been the best part, is the class is just really fun. And it's a good experience for us to get closer. pretty quickly because we have to depend on each other for footage and that kind of stuff and input on our ideas. But I also, I like going out to the mill because it's really pretty. And I think this weekend will be really pretty since the leaves are changing.
Right. That's actually really cool to see that.
So what's been the biggest challenge in this class, in this project for you?
Definitely time management, because not only are we making this documentary, we're doing our own personal documentaries. And filming a documentary is only one part of it, and then you have to edit it. So that's, trying to balance all of that filming and then other classes and that kind of stuff. That's a challenge.
So how do you decide how to, in other words, you do the bigger project and then you have to kind of dissect it and you take a little piece of that and that's your personal documentary, or how do you do that? How do you handle that?
Our personal documentaries are completely separate from the Adams Mill project. We're making our own 15-minute
Okay,
documentaries.
so you pick your own topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are you already working on your other project then at this time, or your just main focus is the mill?
We're brainstorming through things. A lot of
Yes.
people have already started filming.
Yeah.
That's part of the time management thing.
Yes.
I have not.
Yeah, nor have I.
But yeah, we are working on them at the same time. I think we have footage due in 2 weeks.
1 week.
In 1 week.
Yes.
Yeah,
Can
time
you-
management.
Can you tell me what your ideas are right now then for your personal project?
I'm doing a project on my personal experience at Purdue because I have this physical disability and that kind of affects the way that the university and people around here see me. So I'm going to explore that a bit, and that's my focus.
That is very cool. What about you?
Mine's going to be based off of different people's perspectives because at Purdue there's just such a wide range of majors between engineering and liberal arts, and there's kind of this competition of who has the hardest major and who thinks that they're doing the most work, and it's really all just a matter of perspective. So that's the basis for it.
So they're both very involved with Purdue. You didn't go completely out of that.
I don't have time to go outside Purdue.
Yeah.
So how long is your personal documentary that you're producing?
10 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Wow. And so some footage is due in a week or so.
Yes.
But you're filming at the mill tomorrow, right?
Yes.
How much are you filming tomorrow?
We're going to be there from 9 to 1, so that should take care of a good chunk of our filming.
And with these 4 Saturdays that we have set up, the first day we kind of did all the outdoor shots, and then the second day we're going to do indoor shots and interviews and that kind of stuff. And between the 8 of us, we all have different groups that we're working in that will go and work on different things so that we don't all have the same footage. And then when we get back to edit, it's not all one shot of the barn.
Yeah.
And who would you be interviewing for that project?
The man who owns the mill, I can't remember his name at the moment.
Yeah.
But he kind of is the one who's taken it and redone the inside, made sure it looks nice, and bringing people into it. He has all kinds of ideas to market for it. So he has this Halloween thing coming up, and he's going to turn it into a haunted house.
Oh, is he? Has it ever been a haunted house in the past? I think before?
He said he's done it a few years running, so.
I didn't know that. Wow. So regarding the funding process, I find that really interesting because that's a whole different area, right?
Yeah.
And it takes a certain type of skill and expertise, and some people, like myself, is a little shy from doing some type of sales work.
Yes.
So can you tell me about what you've done so far regarding the funding process?
Well, in terms of funding our own personal projects, we've mainly focused on the 2 big internet funding sources, which is an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter,
Right.
because those are what seems to be the industry leading things for small films lately, which those are nice because you don't actually have to go up to people and ask them for money. You just say, this is what I'm doing, throw it out to the internet, and if people are interested, then they'll respond to you.
Do you have different categories? Because I know that you can donate $1 or $5. Or, so what is the lowest you can provide and the highest amount you can give, under Kickstarter?
You can set it up variably, I think $1 to anything. So Like I did the math on mine, and if I were to really go all out on mine, it would cost about $5,000 just for all the very nice equipment and studio work. But if I can't get that, then I can work around it. So
Do they get anything for donating a lot?
So how, if you, with each level, kind of like what you were talking about with as much as you donate,
Right.
if a person donates, say, a huge chunk of it, they could be like an executive producer on the program, and then they would have their name in the credits. Or you can tell them you'll give them like a flyer, a movie poster, a free DVD when your project is finished, just kind of depending on how much they donate.
And is it up right now or has it closed? The Kickstarter one, or have you even set it up
haven't
yet?
set mine up.
Oh, you haven't set it up
No.
yet.
No, these are just ideas for,
Yeah.
because since we have the equipment and stuff here at the school, we're mostly looking through budgeting as if we were making a real documentary,
Yes.
in reality. But here, since we have equipment and things like that, we don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah, the way our professor told us was basically that if we want to take our like small documentary and blow it out into a feature-length thing, then we already have a plan for what we would need to do to fund it and to build on what we've already done.
So will your projects be on display somewhere for others to see after you've put them together? Or?
Hopefully. Another thing we've talked about in class is ways to submit to different film festivals and what the process is there and how you can actually get money to do that or find free ones. So
Wow. So you are just learning every asset of this process, which is absolutely amazing to learn. I mean, I have a master's in communications too, but I never had the opportunity to do anything what you guys are doing. So I think it's a great thing to be involved. And I think it's great that you only have about 8 or so, right?
yeah,
That's a good
it's
relationship,
really nice.
right?
You know everyone in the class and everyone's really friendly with each other, so it's a good experience.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's fun.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for discussing the project. I'm really excited to see it. I can't wait for it to come out, and hopefully you can make your personal projects into something really big one
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are all Boilermakers, but we're also much more. We're history makers, exploring the farthest reaches of our universe, often when strapped to a rocket. We are hope makers, rebuilders of Haitian cityscapes who ensure they'll now withstand any disaster. We are difference makers, developers of drought-resistant crops that just might end world hunger. The fact is, what we make moves the world forward. We are Purdue, makers all.
Welcome back to 3E TV. We have 2 new students with us, also working on the Adams Mill project, which we learned a little bit about. But first of all, we're curious about who you are, what you're majoring in, and then we'll ask you some more questions regarding your personal projects, okay?
Okay,
So why don't you go first and introduce yourself?
I'll go first. So, hi everybody. My name is Han Yang-guo, and I'm from China. I'm a senior right now here at Purdue, majoring in communication. And right now is in documentary class, and we are working on individual project as well as a group project in Adams Mill. So that's it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jing He Cai. I'm also from China and also a senior in mass communication. And this semester I take 2 kind of advanced digital production like course, and it is interesting and it's really a good experience study here.
Great. Did you want to know a lot?
Well, I'm really fascinated about coming from China to Purdue and studying communication. That's really a challenge, I'm sure, because of the language type issues. What types of things have you experienced? What's it been like for you? Just talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so I'll go first. If you don't mind. Okay, so when I just came here, when I was a freshman year, and I found that the English we use here is totally different from what we learned from the book. So although we have all got a higher score in TOEFL, which is a test of English, something like that, and we got a really high score on that.
Yeah.
But still we can't understand a lot of things for the cultural way to speak. So we have to get used to it and kind of go through all the barriers on the language problems.
So what types of things did you do personally I mean, you're very fluent now. What types of things did you do to develop that skill set?
Well, I would say that I'm a really fortunate guy because during the first year, during the first winter break, I went to one of my American friends' home and stay with him for a whole break. So I just keep talking with him all the break, and since then, and I found several another American friends, and then I can just have a little chat with them like three or four times a week, and just practicing my language so that I can speak a little bit fluently right now.
So now you think in English?
Yeah.
Wow. And what about you?
For me, because I'm in a international high school, it's a Canadian high school, but it's held in China, and I have all my foreign teachers in the high school, so I feel like the lecture for me when I first came into Purdue is just no problem at all. But the thing is, when I go shopping, for maybe for the makeup thing, I have totally no idea what's in English, what I want in English, and also I'm still very poor on my grammar, and yeah, I think the grammar thing is my most important problem for me for now, and also for the taking course.
I mean, I think you sound very fluent,
Is
actually.
there
Thank
anything
you.
special you did to help jumpstart and improve your English skills?
I do I have a Canadian roommate,
Okay.
so I was thinking because in the residence hall they offer you can choose your roommate to be a Chinese or non-Chinese something. I just let it go. So I have a Canadian roommate and we talked very much every day, and I think it's really helped.
So you were able to choose your own roommate?
Yeah.
Is this a special learning community?
No, it's just if you and your friend, if you two want to live in together, you can just match it up, and the residence hall will put you in the same room.
So tell us a little bit about your special project. We heard about Adams Mill from the previous two students. But tell us a little bit about your individual projects.
You can go first.
All right. So my project basically is talking about the how to go through the cultural differences so that the American student can communicate more and understand more about the Chinese student, so as Chinese students. So some of my why I'm doing this is because some of my friends, either from China or from America, can't understand each other well. So they keep asking me some basic questions, but not basic. They just can't understand the cultural background. So basically, they will ask why the Chinese students do such things, and the Chinese student also ask me why Americans do things in such a way. So I'm kind of okay, so there's some a gap between the culture. So I'm trying to let them build a bridge between the two group of people so that they can communicate with each other more and understand with each other more. So that's what I want to do. So basically, I just went through all the difficulties as an international student from China, and I changed my thought all the way for the whole 4 years. Because when I just came here, I thought, Americans should be really good, and all the Americans should be kind and really want to talk with me, and really curious about the other culture. But since I came here, I found that all the roommates or something like that who are living in the same dorm, they would like to hang out with their American friends, not the Chinese friends.
Yes.
So I thought okay, I'm abandoned by the American people. Although we are living on the same floor, we can only say hi with each other and no more than that. And some of the language issues happened as well. So I felt like, okay, I don't want to talk with the Americans anymore. And then since I went to the American's home, one of my friends' home, and talk with him, talk with his family, and also spent like the Christmas holiday together. So I try to understand their culture, and some of the difficulties is that only we don't know about the American culture. That's why we cause problems. So I'm trying to inform the others don't need to go all the difficulties as I did. So try to let them be easier to communicate with the Americans and also the Chinese students.
That's amazing.
Have any of the American students, your friends, shared with you the really special things they've learned about you and from you about China and your culture and who you are? Have they shared any of those things with you?
Yep. Well, the most important thing they learned about me is the language. So we started with a different language. So we'll hang out together and buy some Chinese food. Although it's not authentic Chinese food,
Yeah.
but still they call it Chinese food. And some dishes have a name in Chinese, but also have a name in English. And they're totally different. So they want to learn how to say it in Chinese. And I taught him several times, but he can't remember it. I know it's really hard to pronounce it and remember, but we started with that way. And then I talked about myself, and he was really interested in learning the other culture stuff as well. So he also introduced me to his other friends as well. So he just said that, okay, here's a Chinese student, he's my friend, and he's really a cool guy, and you guys should know him more. And since then, we can make friends with each other. So he just kind of like, he showed that he's interested in me, and also his friends do. So that's how he introduced me.
Wow, that's an amazing project. Can you share a little bit about your project as well?
Yeah, like my project also is based on like Chinese culture, but
Okay.
it's like more about Chinese culture. It's like a Han culture, which is like China has 56 different ethnic groups,
Wow.
and the major one is Han ethnic, and like each ethnic group has their own culture, their own clothing, their own like habits, and even festivals. And Han culture, I mean Han ethnic, also have their own thing, but most of people just ignore the Han culture and the Han clothing something. Like when we introduce, even when Chinese introduce themselves, it's just that the clothing is like the daily what we're wearing now, but actually we do have our cultural featured clothing.
Wow.
And most of Chinese will name it like Asian clothing, but it's not Asian clothing, it's the cultural clothing. So that's what my friends and I want to promote to Chinese and also Americans and the other nations to know more about the Han culture, its own feature, and yeah, that's what my project's about.
So how those projects coming along? The other students mentioned time management. They were working on it and managing their time, trying to manage their time. How's your project coming?
Like, for me, because we do have like a Purdue Han Culture Association. It's by my friends, and that group of people really wants to promote the Han culture, and they can, no matter how difficult, they can make their time for me. So that's what I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Do you have the same issues regarding time management?
Yep, kind of. Time management is really important for this project because I have to set several interviews with my friends, and another thing is that I need to consider how long will it take to persuade my friends to get on the show and standing in front of a camera and talk with me, do an interview. Because it's really hard for my friends to do it because all the Chinese they would not like to be on the camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I can't wait to see these projects. Will you introduce it to people on campus eventually when you're done?
Cool. Thank you.
No, that would be absolutely great to show. It would be very interesting as well. I'm really grateful that you joined us, and I think your perspective and what you're doing is absolutely amazing. So thank you for sharing
Well, thank you.
with us. So thank you for joining us at 3ETV, and we will see you next time.